Namaste everyone. Welcome to Saptapadi Vivaha Presents Gupshup with you. I am Dr. Snehal Sukthankar. Today we are here to talk about an important health concern, that is PCOD and PCOS, which is very common in young girls and women worldwide. And the severity of their prevalence is really shocking nowadays. To shed more light on this topic and to explore potential solutions, we have an expert today in the field, Dr. Saubhagya Bhatt Madam. Dr. Saubhagya Bhatt Madam is consultant in OBGY, worked in Kasbekar Medcood Clinic for 34 years, presently working as a consultant in Patet's Fertility and Research Center, Belgavi. Her areas of interest are adolescent health, high-risk pregnancy, ultrasonography. She was the president of Belgium OBGY Society, president of FPAI, member of PCOS Society, member of Fertility Preservation Society of India, and certified practitioner of Menopause Society of India. So let's meet very talented Dr. Saubhagya Bhatt ma'am. Namaste ma'am.
Namaste. Thank you for such a lovely introduction.
Yes. We'll start our session.
Sure.
So we always talk about PCOD, PCOS and all. So I want to know what is the differentiation between normal menstruation and PCOD, PCOS cycle.
Normal menstruation generally we say is 28 to 30 days cycle. That is which matches the lunar calendar.
Correct.
Okay. In normal menstruation we have two phases. Or every menstruation we are supposed to be having two phases. One is the follicular phase, ovulation, secretory phase.
Correct.
And in the absence of any pregnancy, there is bleeding.
Okay.
Why do we menstruate? That is, we ovulate. Every month, a woman sheds an egg.
Okay.
Like how these birds and keep an egg. We also lay the egg inside the abdomen, which nobody sees. They are so tiny. But believe it or not, egg is the largest cell in the body.
Okay.
Okay. And these eggs get fertilized after a sexual intercourse or after marriage, and then the pregnancy starts.
Okay.
So this preparation of the womb starts when the girl attains menarche, because menarche is the one thing where the girl gets her first period and then she goes through the cycle of menstruation. So in the follicular phase the eggs are developing, and then during the ovulation the egg gets released. And then in the next 14 days, what we call as the luteal phase, the endometrium is becoming thicker. That is, from a simple mat, the uterus creates a bed. Okay. That is because the uterus has to receive the baby.
Yeah.
So this preparation goes on. But in case of PCOD or PCOS, there is no regular menstruation, ovulation. There is no regular menstruation.
Okay.
Because of this, there is no ovulation, no luteal phase. So, it is all the follicular phase, that is estrogenic based period, where the period is prolonged, bleeding continuously happens, bleeding which starts doesn't stop, or some people don't get periods even after 2 months and 3 months like that. So, what it is, the normal menstrual cycle is anywhere between 21 days to 35 days. It need not be clockwork like 28 days it should come. No, it is not like that. Okay. 3 weeks to 5 weeks is a normal menstrual cycle. Okay. And anything that is within 3 weeks or beyond 35 days after an established period of menstruation, then it is considered irregular.
Okay. And then what age group is more prone for this particular condition?
There is no age group as such.
Okay.
This is supposed to be from womb to tomb.
Okay.
Yeah. It's all predetermined when the baby, if it is going to be a female child, in utero itself it gets expressed.
Okay.
So we say that this is a polygenic. Okay. There is no single gene to say this gene is responsible. There are multiple genes which are responsible for PCOS. Apart from genetic problem, it is we allow the lifestyle in such a way that the genes express. That is we call epigenetics.
Okay.
So genetic contribution is there, but the lifestyle contribution especially nowadays, is adding.
Yeah. Apart from lifestyle changes, are there any causing factors?
Yeah, there are a lot of factors. Actually, what is the lifestyle the present generation is leading? They don't play games.
Right.
And they are always sitting in front of the computer. Too much of screen time and fast food. Junk food. Junk food is one of the, I think, silent killers. Junk food, first of all, we know it is junk. And the kind of oil that they use is really bad, because most of the times it's palm oil. Whatever is the cheapest is the one which is used.
Yeah.
And then it will be having preservatives, so that the shelf life increases.
Correct.
And they are all in plastic containers, plastic bags.
Yeah.
Air filled, vacuum filled, they say. Whatever it is, plastics, we know the problems, even though it is food grade. We don't know what happens. So all these are contributing, and then our children are never playing outside. I don't see any child after school hours playing like how we did it.
Yeah.
So there is no expenditure of the energy. They're just, screen time. They keep putting something in the mouth, and there is no discipline in eating.
Right.
There is no exercise. So what happens? The fat accumulates. There is no need for that much of fat, and we shouldn't be eating that much. There's no need.
Right.
So this accumulation of fat leads to a hormonal disturbance.
Okay.
And exactly what happens in PCOD is, or PCOS is, in a woman during the follicular phase, the eggs which are developing produce female hormone estrogen.
Yeah.
This estrogen is responsible for the femininity of the woman, the shape, the size, the skin, everything, hair, everything, because the female features are endowed because of the estrogen.
Okay.
Then once the ovulation takes place, then the corpus luteum is formed.
Okay.
This corpus luteum produces progesterone. Progesterone, it has to help in gestation. That means pregnancy. But in this, sequence is lost in PCOS. So the sequence is lost, and then there is more production of male hormones, androgens.
Okay.
All of us have some amount of male hormones in us. All women will have. But here the male hormones increase. And they are the mainstay. Hyperandrogenism is the major cause for PCOS, where it has no business. So you see very, very obese girls, and then having, beard, mush, abdominal hair, lots of hair on the thighs. So there are different expressions.
Okay.
Okay. So we either call it as clinical hyperandrogenism when they have pimples, lot of pimples, and then temporal loss of hair. This part of the hair loss is temporal loss. Females don't have. That's a male pattern balding, we call.
Okay.
And lot of pimples also. So they are all androgenic features, and they come and set in a girl.
Okay.
Imagine a girl at the age of 16. She should look very feminine and beautiful. She becomes plump. She loses her waistline. Woman is supposed to be having an hourglass figure.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
That hourglass is lost, and she becomes a triangle, cylinder, broad shoulders, and then a cylinder.
Yeah.
So the moment a woman loses her waist and develops tires in the abdomen, gets lot of abdominal fat and hip fat, that means she is storing the wrong ones, and then she is hyperandrogenic already.
Okay.
That gives us a clinical picture. Sometimes some of the women don't have these features, but when you test their blood, it may be there.
Okay.
So this is the main culprit,
Okay.
androgens. So we have to cut them initially.
Okay.
When they are young, you can, to a certain extent, bring back that change. Whereas once it gets established, once the fat is established, it becomes very difficult to, manage.
Yeah.
They require external help, exercise, and physical trainers and all that.
Okay. We are always talk about like PCOD and PCOS together. So what is the difference exactly between them?
See, earlier when it was diagnosed way back in 1935, it was some scientist, Steen and Leventhal, they noticed that some women had lot of hair on the face and male characters, and when they were not getting children. So that's when they opened the abdomen, and then they saw that they had fat ovaries. Okay. Ovaries are normally like almond shaped, we say, and they were fat and like eggs only. without any bulge or surfaces showing the ovulation. See, once there is ovulation, there is a rupture. So nothing. So the sclerotic membrane it is called. That kind of ovaries they noticed, and then they said, okay, the pathology is, and when they cut open, they saw a lot of cysts. So they said the pathology is in the ovary. There are multiple cysts. So we will call it as PCOD. So they thought some disease which is confined only to the ovary. And later they realized it has all other metabolic changes in the body. There is associated insulin resistance, we call. There is associated dyslipidemia, we call. These are the major culprits.
So as we spoke about the like excess body hair or excess body weight gain and all, apart from that, are there any other early signs that parents need to observe and come for the diagnosis, early diagnosis of this?
See, we don't diagnose PCOS till the age of 20 approximately, or 8 years after the first menstrual period. But we call them PCOS at risk. Wherever there is a family history. Wherever the adolescent child gets very obese in childhood itself, or she may be, developing little fine hairs on the upper lip, and then we usually see upper lip hair and chin, beard hair are getting plenty of pimples. The obesity itself, I think, should ring a bell for the parents. And parents should really discourage their children from eating all these kurkure and etc. etc. Somewhere the parents should take care that the children are given these. You can't deny a small child not to eat when there is so much of temptation in this world. But only, the discipline. Once in a month is a cheat day. You eat the fruits, you eat complete meal. That has to be done. See, this PCOD is, I told you, it is supposed to have been confined to the ovaries, but it is not. It is increasing the sugar. It is increasing the cholesterol. That is why it is now called as a syndrome. PCOS is polycystic ovarian syndrome, and it has its branches everywhere in the body. It affects the heart, it affects the entire system, and then finally even cancer. And infertility is one of the major things. That is why so many IVF centers are cropping up even in a small place like Belgaum.
So multiple complications with single condition, hormonal imbalance. So when we talk about the genetics and all, like if it is running in the family, if it is genetics, can we avoid it with the lifestyle?
To a certain extent. I don't say, completely you can get rid of that situation. What happens if there is history of diabetes in the family? And especially both parents, when they are diabetic, they pass on this kind of a gene. So wherever this gene is there, chances of PCOS is high. So early lifestyle modification. Eat right, sleep right. See, sleep is another important issue. Are girls and boys, are they sleeping adequately in their adolescent phase of life? I have seen our school kids sitting up till 12 o'clock watching the mobile. If they are studying, at least it is
nowadays.
Watching the mobile. The screen time itself is bad. When this is the lifestyle, and I think sports time is reduced in schools. The present day, because so I think there should be dedicated PTR, which we all had. Every day we had sports, and once in a week was Saturday was the time we had mass PT, where the drill. See, the body needs that systematic stretching and pulling, and that kind of exercise is not there in the schools now. I think high time the curriculum changes, because the health of the adolescent as of today is the most important to create better society tomorrow. If our young children are sick, what are we going to do? Because we are seeing boys in their 40s and 45 years dying post-COVID. And these girls will add up to this also. What will happen to the future generation? My concern is that. So I think the sports has to be inculcated. That sport has to be followed in every school, and every child should have that sport thing inculcated in her mind, so that she gets that positive kind of competitive spirit. situations where she will face a failure, how to handle success. All this you get in the sports field.
This PCOS condition left untreated, what can be the long-term effect? Like, does it affect married life?
Of course, if it is left untreated, I'll tell you, first of all, the girl doesn't have the figure that she's expecting. Most of the times they are obese.
Okay.
But it doesn't mean that lean people don't get PCOS. There is another category called as lean PCOS.
Okay.
They are thin,
Yeah.
very thin. The body requires some amount of fat. They say 17% of the body has to be with fat to have a normal menstrual cycle.
Okay.
When the fat is too less also, you don't get proper periods. So what happens is, when a woman is not menstruating properly, she is not ovulating properly, the next step is what? She is going to have a menstrual irregularity and bleeding problems. I've already discussed. The second one is, because of the facial features, beard and mush and these hormonal changes, they go into emotional, problems are also there. Psychological problems are also there. There's a lot of body shaming.
Yeah.
Body shaming can happen and the self-esteem comes down. There is a lot of depressions in such children. And after marriage, they may not be able to conceive because eggs are required. If a woman is regularly menstruating, she may take, everything being all right, husband being all right, wife being all right, they may take sometimes minimal 6 months to conceive.
Correct.
Here they take ages because whenever she ovulates, not that every cycle will not be anovulatory in PCOS. Some cycles they do have sporadic ovulations.
Okay.
So it has to be caught at the right time, and that right time may be a little dicey situation. So conception becomes little difficult.
Okay.
And then once they conceive also, I told you already about the insulin resistance. They're all, most of the time they have insulin resistance, that is pre-diabetic state, and diabetic. Type 2 diabetes is very common in these people. Sometimes some people can start the pregnancy with type 2 diabetes.
Okay.
Or they get gestational diabetes.
Okay.
So that is why we have to look for the blood sugars, and during pregnancy also they are prone for high BP.
Okay.
Once there is sugar and BP, then there is growth restriction for the baby.
Correct.
So once there is growth restriction in the baby, that means baby is already stressed in the mother. Either you have to deliver the child early, then it becomes iatrogenic prematurity, we say. Just to save the baby, it has to be forced to be born earlier, or the cause itself will make the baby come out earlier. So premature deliveries and infections. And once the baby comes before time, there are other associated problems. And these kids, who are small, very small, tiny at birth, they are the future candidates for again the same cycle.
Yeah.
They are the future candidates for future diabetes. This is, adult diseases which are expressed in
Womb itself.
womb itself.
Right.
So we are creating a vicious cycle.
So overall, PCOS pregnancy is something to be taken very seriously.
Exactly. They all come under high risk category.
High risk. Nowadays, they say a lot of herbal drinks are available to overcome PCOS, and also how far it is safe.
If some drink could, create a magic potion or something like that, probably we wouldn't have seen PCOS patients, right? Everybody would have taken some drink, and there is no shortcut to success. Some people are prone to it. I don't say that just by lifestyle modification I'm going to do everything. No, some people do require treatment, and our herbal things, I am not very I'm not a promoter of those things where there is no scientific data.
Okay. So what are the reliable solutions for this particular condition?
Solution in the sense
Treatment
aspect.
plan, yeah.
See, when a woman is young girl comes and says I'm bleeding heavily and all that, you can't say lifestyle modification first.
Okay.
Lifestyle modification is definitely a part of our treatment. That's a first treatment, which takes time. So we have to give them some of the medications. We do give medicines which control the bleeding, And in young girls, we try to avoid hormones as far as possible. You can't, but you can't allow them to bleed, right? We have to put them on hormones. We have estrogen hormones, progesterone hormones. We have combination pills, like we call that. How we give contraceptive pills for the others, adults, not to have pregnancy. Such tablets are also available, which we give, and if it works well, but it does have its side effect. Very rarely we do see adverse reactions. That cannot be predicted. Very, very rarely it can happen. For insulin resistance, we do give metformin. So metformin is another drug where it is indicated. Obese or where insulin resistance is high, we do give metformin. And then many parents, for a 24, 25-year-old girl, we give metformin. They think, my daughter doesn't have diabetes. She doesn't have diabetes, but she's a prone diabetic. So once the insulin gets into the tissues along with the blood sugar entering inside, half the problems can be solved. So there's a lot of research is needed in this particular topic because we really don't know the cause. So we really don't have a complete treatment. Whatever we are treating is symptomatic. We don't want the girl to bleed and become anemic. So we have to give treatment.
So we were talking about the weight gain and all, where we have to avoid fast food and extra sugar and everything. So sugar, if we avoid, and what about the alternative as we use organic jaggery? What will you say on that?
This is another big hype. See, a person who is asked not to eat sugar should not eat sugar in any form, whether it is jaggery or sugar per se. But jaggery is a better version of sugar because jaggery has good iron. Jaggery, organic jaggery, especially for kids, we give the chenga laddu because it has got protein, it has got sugar, which is immediate carbohydrate, which is required for energy, and chenga has protein. So that chenga laddu is given. But for those people who are not supposed to be eating sugar, should not be eating jaggery also. And artificial sweeteners, that is something which is coming. All our artificial sweeteners, avoid them. Don't use them because our gut is not accepting it. It disturbs the gut microbiota. I told you, there are good microbiomes in our gut and they know how to balance the bad microbiome. They are all in good association. You are putting something which is not suiting in their territory, produces inflammation. So half the diseases begin, I don't say half, all the diseases begin in your gut. And I don't say these young girls, I don't say don't eat sugar. Eat, but not every day. Every day going to the bakery and bringing a cake and eating instead of eating idli, upma, roti. Vegetables, fruits.
My one last question to you, ma'am. Your valuable suggestions to our potential brides, grooms, for their healthy, happy married life ahead.
The potential bride and the potential groom, they form the building blocks of the next generation. So keep yourselves fit and fine. See, what I say about this PCOS in girls, they show because they menstruate. In boys, there is something else is happening. They also have, more of lipids and cholesterol. So take care of your health. Eat well, sleep well, burn your energy, go for walks, have a sport in your day routinely. Just, if you don't have any friends or anything, I say take a shuttle and a shuttlecock. Play squash. You have a wall in your house. Burn your calories. Keep yourself healthy. Don't postpone the childbirth for too long. If you're a career-oriented person also, because the fertility of the woman comes down. Not only the woman, even the man, the quality of the sperms, they degrade as the man ages. So a good sperm and a good egg will create a good offspring. Whereas a damaged egg and a damaged sperm may not give the quality. So don't postpone your childbirth. And you may be surprised sometimes by the age of 30 they hardly have any eggs. That is the situation.
Shocking.
So don't postpone. The fertility starts falling by the age of 27. And many a times now Our girls postpone marriage, they are not.
Yeah, we are getting profiles like matrimonial profiles at the age of 27, 20, 30.
No, that's
like
common
that.
because see,
Yeah.
that is the trend now.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to be educated. Yes, educate yourself. Okay, the moment you get married, don't plan for too long.
Yeah.
Try to get pregnant earlier. This part of the job is over, then build your career further. Because you can start working at any age. You can study at any age, but you can't have a baby at any age.
Valuable suggestions, I must say. Ma'am, to end our session, I know how busy you are. Your schedule is so busy. In spite of that, we are privileged to have you with us today. And I want to thank from the entire team of Saptapadi Vivaha for your information, for your valuable insights that you have shared with all of us. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you.